Wow. Absolutely breaking news coming from the 135-pound lightweight division and also the WBC. But before I break that down to you, I want to break down the whole lightweight division to you as a whole. If you aren't up to speed, this is what's going down in this lightweight division. Right now, you have the WBO lightweight world champion who's 21 years old by the name of Abdullah Mason. He just won the title against Sam Noakes November 22nd on the undercard of David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. You also had Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. on that card. Abdullah Mason walks away with the title in what was one of the fights of the year, a barn burner fight between Abdullah Mason and Sam Noakes. Anytime you watch Abdullah Mason fight, you know for a fact it's gonna be fireworks. Currently the WBO lightweight champion. The IBF lightweight champion is Raymond Morataya. Raymond Morataya training with Robert Garcia, coming off a fight where he went in as the underdog and champion January 24th against former Olympic gold medalist, Pan American gold medalist, world champion gold medalist, all the amateur accolades in the world. Beat Keyshawn Davis 4 different times. Only had 6 fights in his career. Going on his 7th against Raymond Morataya and was the favorite going into that fight. Raymond Morataya holds it down, beats Andy Cruz, retains his title, and is currently the IBF lightweight champion still to this day. The WBA lightweight champion was Gervonta Tank Davis, but everything that's been going down with him outside of the ring, I don't want to get into it, made the WBA strip him of his title. Has been placed as champion in recess. Therefore, the WBA started looking around, trying to make moves on setting up the next world title shot for the full world title. Floyd Schofield Jr., who is ranked #1 by the WBA rankings, has been summoned. Months ago, I believe about a month ago, Floyd Schofield Jr. was already talking about having spoken to the WBA and will be next in line to compete for the world title. It was just a matter of fact of finding out who was it going to be. 2 of the names out, who were in talks was Lamont Roach Jr., who we're going to get into right now, and also Lucas Body. It turns out Lucas Body gets a shot. Floyd Schofield, I think tomorrow's Thursday, the WBA is going to announce it officially. Floyd Schofield Jr. versus Lucas Body for the vacant WBA lightweight strap. So we have 2 full world champions right now. Raymond Morataya, IBF, Abdullah Mason, WBO. We don't have a WBA champion. We're waiting to see what happens with that. The WBC just announced Lamont Roach Jr., former WBA super featherweight champion of the world, decided to move up to 135 pounds, take on Gervonta Tank Davis for his strap. The fight ends in a draw, controversially, due to Gervonta Tank Davis touching the canvas with his glove in round 9. The ref didn't rule it a knockdown. The fight ends in a draw. But if you rule that as a knockdown, Lamont Roach Jr. walks away with the title. It doesn't end up going down like that. The fight ends up being a draw. He decides to move up to 140 pounds and fight for another world title, this time for the WBC interim junior welterweight strap against Isaac Pitbull Cruz. And what happened in that fight? Another draw. Another draw from Lamont Roach Jr., who is going back down to 135 pounds, has been summoned by the WBC to fight for the full world title against William Zepeda. William Zepeda, goddamn Mexican come forward machine. The dude gave Shakur Stevenson his toughest fight of his career. I'm not talking about Teofimo Lopez. I ain't talking about anybody else. I'm talking about William Zepeda. Gave Shakur Stevenson the toughest fight of his career. I like this fight. I like William Zepeda. I like Lamont Roach Jr. The only thing that I have a problem with is what happened to Herrera, who is 18-0 right now. I believe he has 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Cuban sensation, undefeated. XXX Tentacion, whatever you want to call him. My boy does look like XXX. It's crazy. He is currently the WBC interim lightweight champion. I thought as Shakur Stevenson was fighting in the fight with Teofimo Lopez, he says that if he wins the titles, he's moving on up. I thought Herrera would be the next man elevated to full world champion. You seen them do it with Christian Mabili. Christian Mabili was the WBC interim champion They ordered him to fight Hamza Shiraz. Hamza Shiraz is, too busy setting a fight with Diego Pacheco. So they elevate Christian Mobility to full WBC champion. But you can't do that with Javier Herrera. You got guys like Dalton Smith, who just beat Sabril Matias for the WBC junior welterweight strap, and is forced to fight a Puerto Pueblo right after. Doesn't even have the option to a voluntary. I see too many bumps, bro. How are you going to elevate Christian Mobility to WBC full world champion, but you're not going to elevate Javier Herrera to full world champion? Is it because the money? Is it because Javier Herrera isn't a draw? Is it because Christian Mobility is being set up to fight Canelo Alvarez? That's why you're doing that? Why is Javier Herrera not involved in this full world title shot? They give it to William Zepeda, which I respect. He just fought against Shakur Stevenson. It's understandable. But Lamont Roach Jr.? I understand Lamont Roach Jr. is a great fighter. I understand he's a former WBA super featherweight champion of the world. But this is a dude who fought one time in the 135-pound division and is currently ranked number 2? How does that happen? Who did he beat that's in the top 10 to earn that number 2 spot position? Is it favoritism? Lamont Roach Jr. coming back down from the 140-pound division, just fought it for the WBC interim title, now getting a WBC title shot at the lightweight division? It drives my brain crazy, bro. The WBC keeps on not being straight, man. They follow their own rules, and at the end of the day, what goes for them is what's gonna go in the sport of boxing. I feel bad for Javier Herrera, who's coming off a ridiculous knockout win against Ricardo Nunes, getting dropped in the first round, then getting up and finishing him in the 8th round. I thought he would be next in line to fight for a world title shot or at least be elevated, but it looks like it's not happening. What does this mean for Javier? What if Lamont Roach Jr. or either William Zepeda wins that fight? You know they have the option to a voluntary and don't have to fight their mandatory. At least in some cases, not for Dalton Smith in his case, didn't have the option to fight against a voluntary. Eddie Hearn was public about this, says it's not fair, but at the end of the day, the WBC has their ways and we're just going to follow the rules. I like this fight. I like the breaking news, but I just don't like it ain't cool, man. It ain't cool. Javier Herrera, in my opinion, ain't going to be getting no world title shot anytime soon. And it sucks for a fighter who's been fighting to get into this ranked position, fighting in this lightweight division, doing what it takes to keep earning your way to the top. And now, Lamont Roach Jr. takes your spot. My goodness, man. My goodness. But it's some breaking news. The WBC has ordered William Zepeda versus Lamont Roach Jr. for the vacant WBC lightweight title. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, my people. This is some breaking news. We're going to see how this ends up playing out. Who's going to win this fight? Who do you think? Let me know in the comments. But